So before the video, just a very quick update. So I think with my schoolwork, I finally caught up to a pace where I don't have to spend weekends doing tons of work. Like, I have the past few weeks where I've just been doing a 7-page history report on the Korean War and programming a GUI. So now I can start focusing on doing these videos again. The main problem at the moment though is that in the past 6 months to a year, I haven't been playing that much factions and actually paying attention or figuring out all the new ways of cannoning because it's so complicated, which is why I want to do videos on it. Like meteor stackers, void stackers, tunneling nukes. Cannons are so complicated, and when I'm trying to build them by myself, they always seem to blow up on me. So I want to start again by learning all of that. So if I can get TMFactions up sometime in the next few weeks or months, then I am going to be going back to 2 videos a week doing factions and trying to learn all of this stuff so I can actually do well-made tutorials on them again, even though those videos should probably be a bit more infrequent because they're going to take so long to make and going to be a lot of work if I want to make them that same quality as all the rest of them. But I just want to say that I want to get this channel back to some state of consistency and that there is some hope for this channel, because in the past year it's really just been going downhill. So I hope we can get back to something like that. But anyway, now on to the video. Hello guys and welcome back to TNT Madness. Today we're going to be looking at a type of Regen floor, because you need to protect yourself against reverse cannons, because essentially how they work, because I've never really talked about how they really work, is where you get like a normal cannon. It's a lot more complex than this, because what actually happens is you have like a linear ad archer cannon or something bigger, and then you have to shoot TNT that essentially reverse hammer, because the TNT will fire upwards and it needs to hybrid as well. So it's quite complex. So most people don't actually do it unless you have a massive base, but since the actual curve of bases is getting stronger and stronger, the size of bases is getting bigger and bigger, and now that gen buckets have been introduced, it's just reverse cannoning is becoming more and more popular. So essentially what happens is you'll fire off some TNT. This is not going to hit, and this doesn't actually hybrid, but it's just to show a point. TNT will hit like here, and then if you have like an area here blown up, it'll fire up and then hybrid above here, because of course you're going to have water below it, and then it'll blow up and then you're in your base. Quite simple, quite easy. But what a regen floor does is it stops that happening, because because of course you're going to have a layer above this, so you have your floor, so they can't enter pearl in as soon as they destroy the first block. But it makes it so they can't get through straight away. They have, no matter how many times they hybrid, it's just going to regenerate the floor over and over and over again. And this is similar to my 45 regen that I did nearly a year ago, and this is similar to roof defense, but this is, I think, a much better way of doing it. So you may also be wondering why I have these little cobblestone floors here, and that is because, as you can see, if someone does ender pearl in, generally you're not going to be aiming from the side here, because you're going to have to go down, you're going to have your walls going down to bedrock. So what's more likely to happen is that they will regen underground if you're in the overworld, so they can get somewhere like here and then hybrid up from down this angle. So it means that they have to reverse hybrid like 5 times, depending on how many of these you have here, and you can put multiple regen floors if you want in, but I recommend 4 or 5 and then something like this. And the other major benefit is that these act like a 45 regen, because once you destroy enough of these, because you're generally going to have a big area that's going to be destroyed, once you get a 3x3 area destroyed here, and then it cones down, as we can see, it's a 3x3 area, and we destroyed this block, then this one here is going to regen, and it starts to turn into a reverse 45 regen. And that is very powerful, because that's even more frustrating to destroy, and it's a snowball effect if they don't know how to deal with it properly. Of course, you're going to want to repair it back to this stage, because this is actually stronger, but it is very, very strong. And it's hard to get my point across about how necessary this is. It's a bit like watering your corners. It's not as necessary as that, because if you don't water your corners, that's just stupid. But in this stage of factions, because it is so advanced, and really only a lot more, most people are now super competitive, it's a very good idea to have something like this. And especially if you're having any kind of sky base, this is completely necessary. So now on to the tutorial. Okay, so now on to the tutorial, but before we get started, if you want to download this, there will be a world edit schematic in the description below. I'm not going to be doing world downloads anymore because no one actually seems to be using them, and there has been an issue sometimes where you don't spawn in the right place, so it's just simpler to do schematics, and if you don't know how they work, then search up schematics on YouTube, and I may put a link in the description below to one. But anyway, now we are going to be actually building this. Even though it seems self-explanatory, it pretty much is, but there's still a few things that you might want to know. So what you're going to need is you're going to need some cobblestone or any other kind of building block. I just recommend cobblestone, super easy and cheap to get. You're going to need a lava source because you just want this whole area covered in lava. It doesn't have to be lava sources, but it does have to be covered all in lava. You're going to need an infinite water source, just make one near here, and if you are rich enough or you're in the end or something, then you can use endstone because it's harder to actually destroy, or if you're really rich, even though I would not recommend it unless you have so much obsidian that it's going out your ears, then you can make it out of obsidian, but I would just recommend using cobblestone or endstone. So for this, we're going to be using cobblestone. So if we imagine that this is like one of your walls, and then this is your main area inside your base, and this is like the area where all your rich stuff is, all your valuables and chests and all that is, we are going to be building inside that. So we're just going to count this obsidian area here as the very edge of here. I like to keep it flush along here, but generally you're going to have a water source flowing down here anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But before we place any water, we're going to go ahead and actually place down our cobblestone layers. I like to start at the top and go to the bottom. You're going to need some sort of scaffolding to actually do this, but it's very simple. Just make a pad like so. You're going to want to fill it in, if I can actually place it properly, and you want to go ahead and go down and do about, I'm going to do 4 of these. I would recommend 4 or 5, that's just a good number, and you want to have at least 5 blocks above from the ground if you're in the overworld, because what can happen is that if, like, let's say you're here and your first layer is 2 blocks above, someone can just set off TNT here and some sand above it and it'll just hybrid it anyway. So it's just a little thing, but I wouldn't recommend it. So probably should have said this before we started, but the way we're going to be oceaning this instead of using ice just because it's cheaper is we're going to be going ahead and going inside here and placing water in diagonally. We want to have this oceaned on every layer because that way the lava will keep regenerating properly all the way down here. It's not completely essential, but it's at the point where it really is essential. And I would recommend that you connect up this water to your edge here so these corners don't show off like so, but because we're going into your base, it's not super important. Anyway, after you've placed it, should look something like this, and for the top one you want to do the exact same. You've probably seen some bases that have like 30 of these, and that's because they are probably super rich bases, and where something like that is really necessary. And I just gonna place these on the corners. And what I mean by connect up is that generally there'll be a water source along here, so if you can just make it all. So once you've done the bottom, it should look something like this, and then what you want to do is go up to the top here and actually start placing down your lava sources. I would recommend just place, well, it doesn't really matter how you place it. If you place it in a 3x3 area, then the lava is going to reach, well, lava moves out 3 directions. Anyway, just fill it up. So once you have filled it up to something like this and your thing looks something like this, you just want to check really quickly that it does actually regenerate in all the places, which it should do, like as you can see it does here. So, and then you want to go ahead and patch it up. So that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more, then please subscribe. But anyway, goodbye from TNT Madness.